Hey guys, hope you are well. Coach Jay here from Explore the Movement. I wanted to go through just an explanation of energy systems quickly, and how I've seen some people have an intent of having a certain stimulus in a workout, and then it just never kind of goes that way and it turns into something else. So I just wanted to make this quick video just to explain that how it works. And when you do programming or when you program design, there's a certain stimulus that you're after or a certain energy system that you're after. How you need to think about it in order to execute it. So, all right, let's jump in. So let me move myself to the corner there for a second. Okay, so first of all, I would see something in the sense of, let's take a 20-minute MRAP. Okay, so 20 minutes. Okay, where's my drawing? 20 minutes. Sorry, it's like very difficult to. And we have something that's going to be listed here. Exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3, exercise 4, exercise 5. So our aim here is to be able to do the exercise at a nice sustainable pace, whether that's a high pace or a lower pace, for 20 minutes. So if you look at the heart rate and the accumulation of lactate in the body and the oxygen consumption, you're going to see a linearly slightly increasing capacity around 20 minutes. So you're probably going to see something like this. So if you look at it in a time domain and intensity, you're most probably going to see your heart rate maintain a certain degree of consistency across. You're going to have a little bit of fatigue, so it might probably be like this, increasing to the right, but it's mostly going to be stable. You're not going to be massively up here and then down here for a while and then up here again. It's definitely not going to look like that. And you'll also find that over time, your lactate on aerobic will kind of stay relatively the same because it's a sustainable pace that you can hold for a very long time. In this case, we're going to use 20 minutes to 40 minutes to 60 minutes to 90 minutes, and your aim is that sustainable pace. So when you design the workout, let's say 20 minutes, and you want it to be an aerobic workout, which it will be, you have to think about, okay, what do you want the heart rate to do? So the exercise selection that you're selecting needs to be an exercise that you can maintain and be able to do for longer periods of time, depending on your stimulus. And our stimulus is going to be staying aerobic. Now, what I see often in EMOMs, EMOMs are great for working lactate, like lactate threshold. And the big difference here is that when we have an aerobic workout and when we have a lactate threshold workout, our intent is slightly different. In our aerobic one, so let's put this the aerobic one and this one the lactate one. In our aerobic one, we want the time, what did I do there? Time, and let's go heart rate here, just to make it easier. So we want the heart rate to stay at a nice consistent pace that we should be able to more or less keep forever. This is zone 2, zone 3, and you will be able to keep this for a very long time, shifting right. When it comes to lactate, what we want to do is we want to create massive peaks and troughs. So we want areas that we start working and we can see an increase in the heart rate. So we can see, let's say that's 0, we're going to have an increase in the workout, something like that, and then we're going to have a drop off. Okay, So consider this as rounds, maybe rounds for time, which includes rest at the end. So let's say 5 rounds of something, 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 and then rest half the time. Okay, so something like this. So you have your first round. You're not going to go balls to the walls in the first round. Your first round is your feel around to set your pace. Because remember, we are in lactate training waiting for that accumulative fatigue. So you're going to work pretty hard, but you're not going to be pacing it the same way as you would in an aerobic workout. Aerobic, you just want to keep it consistent pace. The intensity here is going to be higher. Then once the workout finishes and the last exercise, you have your half rest. Then your heart rate's going to drop off. That's the time when your lactate buffering is going to try to catch up and you're going to try to recover. You most probably will not recover fully at all. Good athletes can recover in around 15 minutes to half an hour fully. You're probably not there. So you will recover, but not fully. Then you attempt the second round. So now already the second round, you reach that lactate in the blood already a little bit earlier because fatigue is accumulative. A lactate is accumulative if we can't buffer it. When I say buffer, meaning remove it from the system fast enough. In our aerobic, what we're doing is we are removing it. So the buildup of lactate and the removal of lactate is nice and consistent. In lactate, it's not. The buildup of lactate is much, much faster than aerobic, and then we need the rest to try to remove the lactate a little bit. So we get used to these higher lactate positions in the blood. So we practice this in order for us to be able to keep higher intensities during workouts. And if we have a good aerobic system, this aerobic system can help the lactate system. So let's look at the third round. So the third round, we're coming back up again. We're doing the third round and then we recover. Fourth round. And now the time domain of what we are working on. So you can see that every single time the lactate hits higher and higher until a point where you can't recover anymore. Okay, this is depending on the history of the patient, of the athlete, and you know how many years the athlete has been training, the quality of the athlete's performance, blah 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 blah. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is that in aerobic we're keeping a constant pace in the heart. Here we're increasing, recovering, increasing, recovering, increasing, recovering. So doing an EMOM, for example, is a great way we can work on lactate as well. So instead of having rounds, our lactate would look like this probably. And you can see every round or every minute, the lactate is a little bit lifting more and more and more. So that means every round you're accumulating a little bit more lactate, a little bit more lactate, a little bit more lactate, but you have these little peaks of recovery in between. So for example, when you do an EMOM and you're thinking about the intent of the workout, think, okay, what is it that I want out of this workout? I want to work aerobically. So then it means spread the workout in 40, 50, 60 minutes. Or do I want to work the lactate system, which for beginners would probably in the area of 20 to 30 minutes, 40 minutes, yes. For advanced athletes, they can go all the way up to 60 to 70 minutes doing lactate threshold training, which is very, very intense and it takes years to get there. And so you can change your intent by having the same workout. So if you have an EMOM with 4 exercises, 40 minutes, you can spread it out and turn it into an aerobic workout. Or you can do that, finish it relatively fast in the minute, and then have that recovery time at the end. So now we're building up into lactate and we're not keeping the heart rate nice and consistent. The next thing I want to talk about is pacing. I don't want to make this video too long. Sorry, I don't know how to clear all of this at the same time, but yeah. So pacing is something that is incredibly important because if we don't pace, this is what happens in the blood. We start off at a certain heart rate or lactate in the blood, and that lactate starts accumulating incredibly fast. Then we'll get to a point where we're like, oh, damn, that was hard, that was really good. And now we can't recover. So now we're trying to keep a heart rate that is the same or consistent because we want to make this 15 minutes or 20 minutes workout. And we're trying to keep this heart rate, but we can't keep the heart rate there. It's too high. Lactates accumulate too much. Remember, if we slowly increase, let's do this in another color. If we slowly increase, it changes everything. Anyway, if it slowly increases the lactate, we're able to perform more work, taking the average of every movement, okay? So we end up performing a little bit more work, which is great. But if we increase that lactate super fast, and then we're at the bottom here in the aerobic system, trying to hold on and trying to survive. Remember what I said, in the aerobic system, we have a balance of lactate production and lactate removal. But if we hit the workout way too hard in the beginning, we build up incredible amount of lactate really, really fast. And now we need to have some sort of a recovery to get rid of that lactate. But if we go straight just into an aerobic system, we have all of this net profit of lactate, and the aerobic system is there, which is lactate production, lactate removal at equal pace. It means that that lactate is there in the blood and it's not going to just suddenly disappear. So that means we need to have a net profit at the bottom here of removal of waste, which means you need to go so slow in your aerobic system that your removal now becomes faster than your lactate buildup. And the recovery on high intensity lactate, like I said, to fully remove it takes 15, 20 minutes, 40 minutes in some athletes that are beginners, to 60 minutes even, data has shown. So this is why pacing is so important, because we don't want a red line and then having to hold on to all of this. Okay, I hope this makes sense. I wanted to do this video for a while and I didn't know how to really format it, and then I decided just to jump on and do it. If you guys like this video, please leave a like, share it. I would love that. Subscribe, and see you in the next one.